People feel psychologically safe to speak up and trust their ideas will be heard and respected, I think the teams become more stronger, more engaged, and more innovative.
Hi everyone, welcome back. Now we are at our third podcast episode, which is also our last episode. Time feels so fast, I know. So I'm Ain, your host for today, and today we have three more group member with us. So we have Vic, Tash, and also Sharifa with us. So far we have covered a lot from the basics of the example definition and also interview with Mr. Matt from the previous podcast. So now we'll look back into the key takeaways and reflect on what we have learned so far. So first, let's revisit some examples of effective and ineffective case of inclusive leadership. So Tash, would you like to share your opinions on this?
Yeah, thanks, Ain. So I think we have learned so far already
Indeed.
regarding this inclusive leadership, seen from the research and the interviews, all those things. So from all these, our researchers and the interview, what I learned is, I think inclusive leadership is effective, especially when a company needs to make a decision, important decision. So, for example, when Google's project called Aristotle, they do a research and found that teams whose leaders create a space where everyone feels safe to speak up makes a smarter choice and solve problems more quickly. So, for example, I would say like during my first podcast, I got share you guys about Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO. So his inclusive culture. So due to his, because of his inclusive culture in the organization, Microsoft Teams was born. We all know Microsoft Teams is a very game changer in most of the organization right now. All right. So likewise, Google's also they also implement inclusive leadership under Mr. Sundar Pichai's leadership.
Mhm.
So their outcome is Google Meet. We all know about Google Meet also.
Yes.
So the participant rate for Google Meet is about 100 million during the pandemic, and of course improves the product's value as well.
Yes, indeed. So next, thank you, Tash. We'll shall pass the floor to the next person. So Shah, anything you want to share?
Yeah. Thanks, Ain. Okay, while Tash have highlighted the strength of inclusive leadership just now, I'd like to talk about a less common perspective. When inclusive leadership may not be the best fit. So imagine a crisis situation, say during a cyber attack or a natural disaster, where a company's system are down and critical decisions need to be made immediately. In such high pressure scenarios, there isn't time to gather multiple viewpoints or engage in extended dialogue. Hence, here is where what's often needed is directive leadership, where a leader gives clear instruction and quick, decisive orders to contain the situation. It's not that inclusive leadership is wrong. It's just that in some time sensitive or life or death moments, too much consultation can delay action. So while inclusivity is valuable in building culture and long-term strategy, leaders also need to be adaptive and know when to shift style based on context.
Yes, I got to agree with both of you guys. So looking back, I now see that inclusive leadership is an evolving and nuanced skill. So depending on the situation, various factor or the urgency itself can deem that whether or not inclusive leadership is an effective move or ineffective. So looking at that, right? Tash and Vic, so is there any key insights that stays with you regarding this?
Uh, One of the major factor that influence the success of inclusive leadership is, I would say, team dynamics, like how well team members collaborate and relate to one another. When people feel psychologically safe to speak up and trust their ideas will be heard and respected, I think the teams become more stronger, more engaged, and more innovative. Like maybe Tash and I could relate to this, right? We're in our episode 2 podcast, right? You remember, like Mr. Matt said that usually the people with the brilliant idea is the not the people in leadership role. I mean, like normal people at workers level. So, but they need to be given an opportunity. So when they feel safe to share their ideas with us, then where I think inclusive leadership I think will be succeed. Yeah.
Yes, thank you so
Maybe
much.
Tash can add to my point anything after this. Yeah.
Yes, we'd love to hear more about the other factors from you.
Yeah, it's a good one, Vic. I think what are the other factors is I would say diversity. Diversity meaning a mix of people with different genders, races, ages, and the way of thinking and the life experience in our team. So like just now Vic told, the brilliant people might not be in the leadership role, the one in the position to make a decision. So it's important inclusive leader to bring in all the ideas in to make a decision, to make the best decision. Like different people have a different ideas because of their they have their different background, their knowledge, in terms of their knowledge, in terms of the way of thinking, everything will be different. So that's why a good leader is he can bring all in to make a better decision lah. So I think diversity plays an important role, is a more important factor in a inclusive leadership style. So for example, when we look into a Salesforce, it's a company, all right, they tracks diversity data just to implement this inclusive in the organization. So they track the diversity data in each department and ask every manager to mentor someone from a underrepresented group each quarter. So these helps and keep more employees on board and gives a leader a clear view of the problems they might otherwise miss. All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps just would like to add, like based on Tash's example, right, it's a very good point of view, and it relates to, if I'm not mistaken, from episode one, your point of examples that you shared, like the
Okay.
advertisement, right? Correct.
Oh, the H&M
Yeah,
one.
yeah, the
Very.
advertisement. So if let's say there's a diverse group of people in there,
Yeah.
they would have spoken up, right?
Yeah.
And regarding, and the advertisement would have gone right. So I
Yeah.
think it correlates between our episode one and episode three. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. That episode that actually stays with me for quite some time because it is such an easy thing, a very straightforward way when I see it. But it could be because they don't have enough people in the decision making team to look from different angle. They created that blunder. So moving on, when it comes to leadership, I believe learning itself is incomplete without actually putting it into practice. So now, you guys, what do you think on how we can apply it in the application?
Maybe I'll take first this one for future leaders, right? I think learning this inclusive leadership style, I think, will help them connect better with their team and makes a fair decision and build a workplace where everyone feels like they matter. What the employee feel like, oh, I'm being valued here, so I could share to the company's revenue and whatsoever. So I think that what's in long run really drive the success in the long run, yeah, for a company.
Mm.
Yeah, perhaps anyone else could chip in. Yep.
So yeah, Sharifa, you want to say anything?
Well, I will share my thoughts on the future of this inclusive leadership. So I think this inclusive leadership will become even more important as our workforce place gets more diverse, not just in terms of race or gender, but also age, work style, and even where people are located. Kan, one practical future application is in managing hybrid teams where some employees work in the office and others work from home. So inclusive leaders will need to make sure that everyone feels equally involved no matter where they are. For example, making sure remote team members get the same opportunities to speak up, join discussion, and be considered for promotion. It's about being aware that not everyone has the same experience and doing small things like rotating meeting times for different time zone or checking in with quieter team members to make sure no one feels left out. Uh, that's where inclusive leadership can really shine in the future, helping build teams that are more connected, even if they are not all in the same room.
Okay. So I see that you want to say something. Okay. I'll pass the floor to you, Tash.
I agree with Vic and Sharifa also lah.
Mm-hmm.
So inclusive leadership is always about employees being valued, and most importantly, you capture the good leader can capture
Mm-hmm.
their ideas, and especially give an opportunity to the employee to be involved in the decision making lah. I think
Yeah.
that is very important. So it always motivates employee to give a more bold idea, to not keep the ideas to themselves.
Mm.
So, yeah, I think it's a very good example that all organizations should follow. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So from my end, I would like to add something as well. So I feel that after looking through the various podcasts and also listening to insights from Mr. Matt, I feel that as the world grows bigger and then the boundary has reduced, we need to think more about people and then take into account and consideration on their background and what they can contribute without looking just at their position and their socio-economic background, since everyone can actually contribute if and only if we allow them to be comfortable to do so. So with that, anything else you want to add before we wrap up?
I think nothing from us. Yeah.
I guess
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. So that's all for today's reflection. So you guys, if you have any thoughts on inclusive leadership, feel free to reach out to us and share your thoughts. So until then, take care and keep exploring new perspective. Bye.
Bye bye guys. Bye.